after an amazing homestand, a really frustrating loss for the Seattle Mariners here against the Tigers. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the series analysis episode of the Seattle Baseline Podcast. My name is Julian Smith, and I'm with Alex Hong today. Alex, I'm going to be honest with you. That one really stings. Like it's Andres Munoz has not been the same guy that he was last year. That the Andres Munoz that we saw last year didn't give up a single run for like the entire month of April and May. And this year he comes back. He has a 5.4 ERA. So Alex, what's going on with Andres Munoz?
Oh, it's difficult to say. First of all, it's good to have you back. But yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, it's good to have you back. It was a little sad just recording by myself in that. I was in like I went to like a lounge. It was a study lounge or some lounge, and it was all very sad because it was also at night. So at least it's good to have company, right? But yeah, I think we immediately need to talk about that Tiger series because overall it wasn't actually bad, and we definitely should have won that last game. But it's just the way we lost was so tragic with Munoz. So
Yeah.
that's something on the minds of everyone. I know everyone's frustrated after that loss. That was a game we entered the ninth inning with the lead. At least last year, based on how Munoz was pitching, that would have been a guaranteed win. But no,
Yeah.
I knew when Munoz was coming, I was like, oh, he better not blow this one. And it happened. So this isn't the first time this has happened this year. Even when we had Munoz come in with like a 3-run lead, oftentimes he give up like a run and we still win the game, so who cares, right? But I've been keeping that in the back of my mind. And we've had several other games where it's gone two extras because Munoz wasn't able to hold the lead. So this has become a serious problem. This is too much of a sample size to say like, oh, this was one bad game. That's why his ERA is so high. No, it's been bad. He's been very unreliable as our closer.
Yeah. And so I went into the comment section of the previous episode and I'm looking through the comments. Army Chow Mein, I will 100% answer your question in the comment section later. But Alexa, thanks for saying that you miss me. That keeps me coming back. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, like the comments in the comment section, Alex, you attracted some of like the best comments in the channel so far. So that
Yeah.
that was awesome. But I cannot say the same for Munoz's slider. Munoz's slider has been atrocious. The command on the pitch is not there. We've seen the fastball velocity tick up actually this year, but clearly not having that secondary pitch. Last year it was more he wasn't able to execute the changeup. This year he's not able to execute the slider, and clearly the slider is a much more important pitch for Munoz than the changeup.
Mhm. Yeah, I opened up his Savant page, right? And I took a look at it because, I just want to see what does Baseball Savant think of what Munoz is how he's pitching this year, right? So interestingly enough, what they say is that the his whiff, his chase, and his K percentage is all really high. So it's great. It's basically what it was last year, right? Very good. The problem is people are getting the barrel on the ball. He is in the sixth percentile and the ninth percentile in barrel percentage and hard hit rates, respectively, which is really bad. And that's a guy who should not be, be giving up stuff like that. That's not the type of guy he is. So it's just disappointing to see that his slider in terms of the run value is significantly down than last year. Last year it was 15, this year it's 3 so far. And the hard hit rate on that slider last year was 25%. This year it's 44%, 46%. So, that's the type of stuff I see, along with, the expected batting average is higher. Like basically everything is higher this year. And it's just been concerning. If he doesn't have his slider, right, then Munoz falters as a pitcher significantly because then if his slider isn't dominant, it's a fastball slider type of guy, right? He doesn't throw his changeup very often. So, it's just kind of how it ends up playing out, right? So I don't exactly know if anything happened this off season, that's something because I said like, we focus on like I really want to look at Castillo that I talked about in the last episode to see what changes. Maybe I need to look more at Munoz to really delve into it and think, okay, what's exactly going on with him? Because right now it's a big mystery because this is a crazy fall off and it's not like he's even old.
Yeah, and he's been saying over and over that his slider doesn't feel right, that his grip, he can't find his grip, which is really weird because if when you're a professional athlete, especially a closer, expected to close out the game in a one-run game, that's the type of pitcher that needs to execute every single year. And clearly this year he doesn't have it. And so, first of all, Andres Munoz cannot still be the closer until he proves otherwise. And I'm not saying if in June he puts up a 0 ERA, or I guess that's not possible anymore. But like for the rest of June, if he puts up a 0 ERA, that he's not going to be the closer again. It's just saying I want to see what is going wrong with him. I want to see them try to solve it, but not in the shoes of the person that needs to execute every single day, day and night out. And so Matt Brash has been playing pretty awesome. Gabe Spire has been incredible this year. And Jose Ferrer, same thing. We have pitchers this year that have been playing at an elite level. And I think Andres Munoz gets to take the luxury of not being a closer for some period of time to try to regroup what's actually going wrong. Is there a injury list stint that he has to go through? We need to answer those questions as soon as possible because when the Mariners don't have Andres Munoz, the team is not nearly as good as it was last year.
Yeah, it's just crazy to have him come out there and just, we don't have trust in the guy anymore. And we have other good bullpen
Oh,
arms, right? I think personally this bullpen is very good. If Munoz was the type of guy we expect, I think this bullpen's really good, especially if Castillo goes in there, but that's another story. But right now it's not good because the bullpen does good until he comes in. So this is just unacceptable. I agree with you. I think he needs to take a break from closing. He needs to go into some more less leverage situations. I remember we did this with I think we did this even with Edwin Diaz back around 2017 or 18 where definitely not 18 had a good year. 2017 maybe he had some rough stretches in there. And I remember what we did was, and a lot of teams do this, we just have him pitch in like the sixth inning or like the seventh inning in a lower leverage spot for him to get his confidence back up, right? So that's something I think we should explore with him. I think Brash, we have Brash close some games, and then even Ferrer. I think those are the type of guys that need to be in there in those type of situations and not Munoz right now until he can figure it out again. I'm not saying he's a bad pitcher. That's just I think how we should play it.
yeah. And like here's the thing. You're not buying the player to get a player. You're not buying a player to get a bobblehead out of this guy. You're signing these players to play in the positions that best suit them. Andres Munoz last year, closer. Put him in. This is the guy that's going to close out the game for you. This year, he's not the same guy. It's and we don't want to cut to the chase here and say, dude, he's bad. DFA him, right? Like that's not going to happen. That's clearly the front office is better than that, but you also have to cut the losses sometimes and say the guy that we signed to or the guy that we have to be able to do this just isn't able to do it right now. And I need to move him to a position where he can recover and kind of find that groove again because it's in there, it's somewhere. And so I think the Mariners need to make a decision now, and they can't wait anymore. It's already June. It's almost my birthday, and so they cannot keep on waiting. That if they do, then there's going to be a much bigger issue with the Mariners. But
Yeah.
speaking of a bad bullpen, let's look at the Baltimore Orioles because the Baltimore Orioles have had a extreme amount of bullpen injuries. They they don't have the back end of their bullpen. Ryan Helsley, Felix Bautista. Those are names that like when I think of the Baltimore Orioles and I think of bullpen, those are the two names that honestly come up. And then um, Cano is another one. But out of those three guys whose names come up to me first, two of them are injured. And so a bunch of their rookies have had to step up. They're they've they've spent a lot of innings covering because starting pitching depth. The clearly this bullpen and the pitching staff in general is not at the elite level that the Mariners are. And so as much as the offense is amazing, I think the Mariners should be able to win this series against the Baltimore Orioles. So Alex, what do you think of the Baltimore Orioles?
I think they were decently pretty good, a little better earlier on, but right now they've been not doing too great. And I think what summarizes it, I think you're right. The pitching has been hurting them, right? It's kind of
Mhm.
the starting pitching as well, and then the bullpen, right? Lots of injuries. So that's kind of just how the Orioles have been in that situation, right? The pitching's been struggling. So obviously, if your pitching struggling, it's very difficult for the team to be good. I mean, look at like the Athletics last year, right? I mean, they're not going to be as extreme like that, but that's just kind of how it is. Um, yeah, another thing I would think of is the offense, I think is a little struggling. I think they have high strikeout rates. It's interesting with this team, right? Adley Rutschman, he's a guy who's been, he had that really great first like few years in the league and then he was bad, right? But then this year he's actually been playing well. So good for him, right? I always kind of like Adley Rutschman. So it's nice to see him play better. And they added Pete Alonso, right? Big Pete Alonso. He's not the same guy he was, but he's still pretty good. And then they have former Angel Taylor Ward, right? He's a nice player. He doesn't strike out very much. Um,
That's
I
the wild
think
card.
yeah, I think like, Gunnar Henderson, I don't know. I think it's just over with him. I mean, there's not much going on there. Jackson Holiday, it's been over with him. The rest of their lineup just isn't very good, which I think is
Mhm.
quite a problem with their team. So underperforming they kind of underperformed. They were never a team that was supposed to be that good this year, but I think they are a little underperforming. They've been kind of struggling, and I think this is possibly a team where it could be better later on in the year when they get some players back. But right now, the way I see it is, a team who's not doing as great.
Yeah, and for a team that has players like Chris Bassett added to the pitching staff, and they they really haven't been the big grand pitching staff that they set out to be. I think that was the biggest change that they made. Obviously, Taylor Ward from the Angels was a big one, and 100th percentile in chase rate. That's pretty incredible. But then again, I want to talk about Taylor Ward because Taylor Ward is a guy that like a lot of Mariners fans talk about for the Mariners. If if the right field position, the right-handed platoon bat doesn't work out in for the Mariners, because Luke Raley and Dom Canzone have been great, but the right-handed platoon bat has not been the same level as those two at all. A lot of Mariners fans have been discussing Taylor Ward, and I want to talk about Taylor Ward. I think whenever I watch Taylor Ward, and I think whenever I watch Taylor Ward, he isn't very threatening to me, and he he takes a lot of walks, he takes a lot of pitches, but it seems more of a passive thing than it is a strategic, like overwhelming the pitcher thing. And the pitcher just has to throw it in the zone, and he'll foul the first two off, and then he'll strike out looking in the third pitch. That's that's kind of the cycle that I see from him. There's not much of a two strike approach, and so when it comes to Taylor Ward, it's all about putting it in the zone. How can we get it in the zone in a spot where Taylor Ward can't hit the ball line drive? Because he's been line driving the ball a lot this year. But at two strikes, Taylor Ward is not the same player that he is when he doesn't have two strikes. And so I think that's something that I want Mariners fans to consider. I want to think about that because I think Taylor Ward is a very similar type of player to what the Mariners want. It's just I don't know if we know what we're getting yet, especially in the first year that Taylor Ward is showing this type of incredible chase rate this year so far. And when it comes to the offense, Ward has been getting on base quite a bit, but he's his on base rate has gone down in the past few weeks. He hasn't he wasn't the same guy a week ago that he was a month ago. And so I think Taylor Ward is a really interesting one because he has that 100th percentile chase rate. But I think the real question is that chase rate because he's passive, or is it because he's actually extremely good and threatening to the pitcher? And I think it's the first one. I think he is passive. And so I want the Mariners pitchers to just pound the zone against them, edge of the zone, not in the middle, edge of the zone every time. Strike three, get him out. Alonso, get him out as well. He's a big homer threat, but clearly he hasn't been the same guy this year. Last week he's been great. A lot of these
Mhm.
players last weeks have been really awesome, and so the Mariners need to watch out for that. But if the pitching staff can stay stable, the offense will do just enough to win these games, and that's exactly what we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, even with the Tiger series, the offense played pretty well, I'd say, in my opinion. They played pretty well, except maybe the second game. But like the last game, we dominated the Tigers. We should have won that last game. Now, we obviously didn't, but that could be a runners in scoring position type of issue. I mentioned that in the last episode too, maybe too reliant on the home run, but we got a lot of hits. So I think something we could work on, right? You mentioned this a few episodes ago, and I've always been tracking this since, is the walks. I think we're below average in terms of how many walks we actually end up getting, even though we got a lot of hits. Like the some games we don't get a lot of hits and we don't even walk. So I think that's something to work on as well. Players wise, I don't really have too many problems with how the players are playing. They're playing pretty good on offense, I'd say right now. Um, with the pitching, right? We have all our starters except Miller and Castillo pitching. Looking hopefully for a better start from George Kirby, right? This time around, hopefully, because he's had a few rough starts here and there. Um, I'm probably expecting good at Emerson. Wu, I guess, had the bad
Mhm.
start, right, against the Tigers, but hopefully he can bounce back. I'm not too worried about Wu. He had really good starts before, so. Now that's just kind of the way I see it, right? I see an advantage in the pitching side for the most part, and the advantage on the hitting side. Our lineup is definitely more well-rounded than the Orioles. So, four-game series, hopefully we can win at least three of them, and that should put us back on track. I kind of like how this is going. I'll be very interested to see how this goes.
Talk about is Brandon Young. This guy has been a breakout star this year. His splitter has been incredible. His fastball is not very overwhelming, but he's really similar to Cade Anderson in a way where he just dots every corner of the zone. He can command it any which way. And that splitter becomes lethal because kind of similar to what Logan Gilbert does with the fastball and the splitter coming out of the same tunnel, it really messes up the hitter when the splitter comes in and it looks like a fastball halfway, clearly drops out of the zone. And so that's a guy that I think we need to watch out for. He's gone 6+ innings in the past 3 starts. And if we let him do that again, then the Baltimore bullpen won't be worked as much. That's one of the main things I think the Mariners need to do. We need to work that bullpen and get them out of the game. The the good bullpen arms, maybe they use them the first game, maybe they use them the last game, but we can't have them pumping out leverage bullpen arms every game. We need to get those pitchers out of here. And so that's that's what I think the Mariners need to make sure they do. Brandon Young, watch the splitter, watch the fastball, and make sure that you are crushing that fastball because if most of the time he's going to try to throw that fastball, the command on the pitch is incredible. So I think the Mariners have it. I think the Mariners are a much better team than the Baltimore Orioles this year, offensively and pitching. Because the Mariners, there's an illusion that the Mariners are bad offensively, but we're not. The Mariners are
Incredible.
actually incredible. Randy Arozarena
We
is
were bad
batting
at one
almost
point.
300. Yeah, we were bad in 2024. In 2025, the batting was the better deal. And this year, right now, the batting seems like it's coming into the form that we expected it to be. And with Brendan Donovan and Cal Raleigh coming back soon, who knows how amazing this lineup looks. But Mariners lineup, don't sleep on the Mariners lineup. And the pitching side, Hancock, all-star. We've got Brian Wu, another guy that's been incredible. This is a complete team. And the Baltimore Orioles should not be a team that beats the Mariners this year. So just rack up the pitch count on Baltimore starters and get their bullpen, get to their bullpen, and let's win the game. Let's go. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our beautiful faces on YouTube. Check out our Instagram. And as always, go Mariners.
Go Mariners.